Hello everyone, I'm Sancho. In the past 2 years, I think whether you play the keyboard or not, RT and magnetic switches. You've probably heard of it. You can freely adjust the starting stroke of the shaft. For some FPS games and the necessary help. I'm not sure if you've heard of the larger inductor shaft. It is a new keyboard technology that has emerged in the past year. Its functionality is quite similar to that of a magnetic shaft. However, the principle is different. The magnetic shaft is based on a Hall effect. Pressing the switch body changes the position of the magnet inside the switch. Changes its magnetic strength. Then, the Hall sensor detects changes in magnetic flux to change a trigger process. As for the inductor shaft, you press the shaft body so that the aluminum rod in the shaft moves downward. Vortices of different magnitudes are generated through the PCB coils. The coil's inductance value is affected by the magnitude of the eddy current. By observing changes in inductance value, you can judge how much you pressed. This is how this RD function is implemented. You might be just confused and uncertain, right? Actually, it's not that important. I think the two biggest differences between magnetic shafts and inductor shafts are, one is that magnetic shafts are highly mature and developed relatively early. As for inductor shafts, their maturity is relatively weak. They developed late. The other is the sensor-based shaft. In principle, power consumption is much lower than that of magnetic shafts. At the same time, you don't really need to worry about temperature control. This causes its RT to be inaccurate. Stability. The sensor shaft is relatively high. As for the sound and feel, I actually think compared to Jujo, which has been developing for so long, the sound and feel are still quite close. Still can't match the mechanical switches. Since the introduction of inductor shafts last year, they have been a bit of a hit. Then there was hardly any sound, because some people around me have used up those first-generation inductor shafts. On the other hand, what I can tell is that the technology is still not mature enough. The principle is quite good, but it's really uncomfortable to use. It often runs out, so I haven't bought it either. I recently experienced the 65 inductor shaft from Nippomac. The Lite and Mac 87 have been optimized for nearly a year. Is it really worth buying inductor shafts now? Let's take a look at the game's performance. After getting these two swords, I immediately set the drive to the lowest level. Then I also played with several bloggers playing for a few days. Indeed, there was no fault, except for the doctor who started farming from the inside of the bow server. But I haven't played much in 25 years. This time, he even pulled off a few small highlights and his sudden stop-and-shoot feel. I actually think it's not that different from this type. I just heard it from Fei Chao. The decorations are also relatively comfortable. Anyway, I haven't experienced it myself. How far is it in performance compared to magnetic arbor? So how do we put this aspect? I think if you could clearly sense the gap, I think that's the most outrageous thing. You can't tell the difference. On the contrary, it suggests that what he did might indeed be quite good. After all, what has this Axis been up to over the years? All kinds of precision delay tuning are extremely limited. But with such a new technology like an inductor shaft, the keyboard can be used without any difference. I think that's already great. Next, let's take a look at the keyboard's craftsmanship. Let's look at this 65 Lite first. This 65 Lite is from Nippomac. Second, the inductor shaft. When the first Mac 87 was released, many people say the keyboard is too heavy without the third grinding sound. Or maybe it's too expensive. Nippomac also listens to player feedback. I've given you the Samadhi. I also managed to lose weight. The price has also been lowered, only about 400 yuan. So what's there to say? Manufacturers willing to listen to player feedback. I think it's a good manufacturer. The keyboard is still a 65-inch layout, not a compact layout. The buttons and function buttons are placed quite relaxed. There's also a knob. There seem to be only a few small magnetic hands with knobs, but the inductor shaft really does exist. The keyboard looks quite plain on the outside with a black style. 3 transparent keycaps, 1 housing on the outer shell. The workmanship is pretty good. Both to the touch and appearance, there's no sense of raw material. The back is also a double-section pedal bite. If you strictly speak about this keyboard, I think it's still more of a common model. In terms of appearance, there aren't many distinctive features. Maybe this knob is a small feature. After turning on the light, this backlight effect is also very bright. The Meg 872 is currently the only 87 spec model on the market. Comparing the step-slip inductor shaft with the 65 Lite, I think it's just that the layout has been enlarged. The SAMA has been removed and the casing has been replaced. This casing is an anode travel shell, without marking the mesh number. But I touched it above 180 mesh, and the texture was still quite delicate. The design of the Epimeg family, I think it's a style that's simple and grand. There's nothing flashy about it. This style is also timeless and timeless. The most noteworthy thing is, in my opinion, the feel. With this feel, I really feel it kind of reminds me of a T-switch. Well, it's not loud. It rebounds quickly and feels pretty good when pressed. That One Break Girl card also provides plenty of refills and draws. Let's simply listen to the sound performance of these two keyboards. The keyboard drivers are all adjustable by a web user driver. By then, the keys will be similar to the high-level magnetic group. There are also 6 regular sockets, all of which are included. The driver currently has no way to access the facility's dead zone. Although I set it all the way to the lowest level, it works fine. Because I also used extreme precision beginners, I suggest leaving some margin. These 2 inductor shafts. I've been using it repeatedly during this period. I've used it. If you want to talk about inductor shafts surpass this shaft, I think that's a bit of an overhype. At least up to now. I don't think it's at the level of surpassing magnetic groups. Can approach magnetic groups. 90% performance, I think that's already very good. There are also no manufacturers competing in the inductor shaft market. All of them do their own R&D. I still hope that more and more new technologies will emerge in the keyboard market. After all, the gala is only when 100 flowers bloom. I'm using it now. I really think the inductor shaft is pretty good. It's already better than when it first came out. It's way too mature. Of course, if you want to try an inductor shaft, I think the keyboards from Epomake are worth a try. Okay, that's all for this video. I'm Sancho. We'll be more high next time.